Welcome to part 2 of Nick and Simon Building in Public. In this episode, we are giving AI guidance, and we've got AI to help us give that guidance, so it makes it a lot easier and a lot quicker. We're using Simon's focus streams and my Giga brain in this entire project to connect them together and then build some next level stuff using those products in a shared workspace to demonstrate how this can work in real life for advanced builders. Speaking of advanced builders, if you want to learn how to build sophisticated products in Tana, just like us, sign up to take the course Tana for Advanced Builders. That's coming up in a few weeks. And without further ado, links in the description, so you find those below. Like, subscribe, leave comments. Okay, now let's get into it. So I guess, yeah, really, we just want to tell Dee, like, okay, we need guidance for this meeting tag. These meetings are typically just going to be, between Simon and Nick and talking about our project work. It would something like that. And then she'll tell us what to put in, or what are you thinking?
I'm thinking something along those lines as well. So I think I'm going to try my new little tool out that you showed me, which is that whisper, and we'll
Mm.
do. Okay, so what I want to do is we're going to be using this as a shared workspace between strategic design and Simon Creates, and I think what we want to do is have some source description and input characteristics that depict uh, not only what we're doing for meetings, but it might have to separate out between two different people. So how would you suggest that we go about doing this? Good start?
We'll see what she
Let's
says.
see.
I think this is probably overkill. Like, we don't need to have that level of detail for the sources, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'm just filling in what I Mr. Ramble Man here. So we've got great question for shared workspaces, single meeting source with raw description, keep one meeting source, but enhance the descriptions to enhance both organizations. Okay. Captures meeting content from both strategic design and Simon creates collaborative sessions, including decisions made, action items assigned, and strategic discussions. It's a good start for the source description. Do you feel we could do better?
Um, so it depends. Like, she's being very prescriptive. Like, there's going to be decisions and action items and stuff. Are we planning on having those kinds of highlights pulled out or not?
Well, I think your systems do well. Action items, maybe not so much, but we're gonna want to leverage the we're gonna want to leverage a lot of the highlights that are coming out from GigaBrain
Yeah, the reason I bring that up is
info and
because, like, if they're being mentioned by name here, but we're not using them as actual highlights, this is a good point to make. Like, for AI is very smart. It's getting smarter by the day, but every aspect that, there's some weird illogical conflict, like they mentioned this in the source guidance, but there's no highlights with these names, increases the likelihood that something isn't going to go quite right. So if you're mentioning like decisions or action items and things like that by name, then I would recommend you create highlights for those highlight tags, or you remove that specificity in the guidance. Does that make sense?
yeah, absolutely. So I think in this instance, let's keep it in because let's refer to it as reminders. Okay. I think
Okay.
that might be better because we have reminders already in the system. Yeah. And we'll turn around and leave it at that for the moment and see what kind of happens from there on. Okay?
And this is one of the nice things about the system is, like, if you put something in and you start using it and you notice, oh, it's connecting things too often or not enough in this way or that way, you go in and you make adjustments.
Yeah, so input characteristics, I think we're just going to just take the format for now, which is meeting
Yeah.
transcripts, notes, recordings, video calls, in-person sessions, hyper meetings. I think that's perfectly acceptable. We don't need a whole spiel to go through, all of that.
Yep. Oh, another recommendation is like start off if when you're first starting off with guidance and you're trying to decide should I be more specific or more generic, start off more generic
Hmm.
and you can always add specificity over time.
Okay. So in this instance, we're done with this, and what we want to do now is you see they're nicely hidden. So we've got these items nicely hidden every single time. Um, I'm OCD and I want to work out a way to make this one word again, but we'll deal with that later. This is just like another level that we don't need to get into right this moment. But we have meeting now that's all preset. The transcription's going for the meeting that we've got going on as well. So this is all nice. What do we need to do next? We want to turn around and give some of the guidance to the highlights that are going to be pulled from the meeting and make sure that's all correct. So let's
Yep.
go into straight up into the Giga. We want the library because we want to go into the guidance garage. Okay. And starting here, why are these deleted? Did I remove
I don't
something
know why
earlier
they're
that I shouldn't have removed? Okay, I don't know. Maybe I removed something I shouldn't have removed.
I'm not sure why they're even there.
It, but if you're not sure and they're not assigned to a thingy, then I think it's probably something from a combination of what I might have done in the last system, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, those should be in the Giga the brain schema. This is one of the reasons why probably as an end user, you probably wouldn't want to be going as deep as we are right now in integrating these
Yeah.
things because it's hard to know what you're impacting.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You just have to know to from a certain degree, like, okay, I know this system, I know that this is part of the reason why we're doing this together because Nick has a lot of intricacies in his system and then there's also just as many in mine. But if you're keeping them separate in terms of like an infrastructure, they're going to operate perfectly because it's literally a case of that point's going there. But if you're doing this level, then yeah, this is like another level of combined resources. So
Yeah, when we record the intro, we should mention something along the lines of
we're going deep,
you do not need to do any of this. This is for instructional and entertainment purposes.
pretty much. Okay, so first things first, reminders. These are the highlights we want to start off with. So I'm gonna knock that all the way there. I'm gonna shift and open him up. Call D. Yeah, why not? Let's give her a shout. Um, these are going to be highlights that are used as reminders that need to be contextually relevant to either Nick or Simon. They are always supposed to be quite short in their length of text. We don't want to have really long uh, reminders, messages. The shorter the message, the better, more concise and clearer, because it makes a difference.
I'm wondering if we should like are we trying to replicate what I did with with the reminders that come with GigaBrain, or is this completely different?
I think, well, let's try and do as much. Let's try and do as much functionality as we can. I think.
What I asked because if it's the reminders, like because the reminders number one in GigaBrain takes the command of GB remind me such and such. Like you need very particular kind of instructions, and it leverages Tana paste. So like there's a lot of intricacies there.
So for now, let's just have it so that we get the tag, but we
Okay.
will, but because I'm wary of time for this session, but I
Mm.
think let's do that, and then we can go into like functions like that in future goes. Because what we effectively want is to make sure that the highlights come from this live transcription all through correctly before we start going too heavy on functionality, I think. But eventually, yes, I do want to have that where it's like popped on the day and then we come to the meeting the next day and it's there. And yeah, that would be very nice. Okay. So guidance, short actionable reminders that are contextually relevant to either Nick or Simon. These highlights capture brief messages, prompts, etc., etc. So guidance description. For the record, I'm going to do it this way so that I don't keep taking things out of their place with the shift command paste, so it makes a direct copy of it versus anything else. When to use. When content contains a clear, actionable item that Nicole Simon needs to remember. We wanted to incorporate something on those lines that you said, only make a reminder when I say,
Yeah,
GB
well,
remind me.
do we want to do that or
For me, I quite like it when it's catching things that I didn't remember to say remember, like things that are clearly a reminder, for example. That's kind of something that I quite enjoyed. It was bringing me a bit of like, oh yeah, I forgot about
so
that.
we can do it either way. We can go either way.
I think let's try one and see how we go. Like I'm not against either way of doing it, but for this instance, should we just let's pop all of that in there? Needs to remember. What's more natural for you? GB, remind me.
Well, yeah, that's what I went with. So yeah.
It was funny actually when you did this. I kind of like wanted to give it a name like Alfred or what's Jarvis or like not like not heavily off like thingy, but this was kind of my thought with Giga Brain. I was like, I can make him a person, but this is also part of it as well. It's like you've got Charlie, you've got D, you've got Thingy. Why not have just the core functionality of it as well as a character? But we're talking.
You can give it your own name.
That's what I was thinking.
I was
Yeah.
actually we talked about this before. Like this was one of the later additions to Giga Brain, like incorporating things like this to this level. I initially was going to have a completely separate product that specialized in that kind of thing. I was going to call it Tina. I may still, but yeah, for now, this is more of like kind of an add-on to the core experience for Giga Brain at the moment.
Yeah, but I mean, in the instance that we're talking about, we're still referring. If we're turning around and saying GB remind me, we're still referring to one of our characters. So we could just turn around and be like
We can give it a name if we want.
Charlotte,
What's their dog's name?
Ace.
Ace?
Yeah, like the Ace of Spades. It's the name of Batman's dog. That's where it came from.
I probably not the best name because it sounds like it could sound like a lot of different things
It's
that come up in
yeah, it doesn't
conversation.
quite work for this kind of thing. But
Mm.
I was thinking something like even Tina was quite fun. But uh, you can even use Charlie.
Not for let's not for us because we might be referencing Charlie a lot in our conversations.
Okay, so
And
we need
so,
another.
yeah,
We need
yeah,
another persona.
yep. Uh, how about Jack? Would that
I could
work?
do Jack.
Okay.
When content contains a clear, actionable item that Nick or Simon needs to remember, and Jack has been asked to remind them. Um, when Nick or Simon ask Jack to remind them of something. Okay. Uh,
And hopefully, we don't work with anyone named Jack in the near future.
oh God, I didn't even consider. I'm just going to paste this in. So, when not to use, if a reminder does not specifically say, ask Jack to remind them. That should do it.
We'll find
We'll
out.
find out. Other instructions. Your name is Jack. Seems like an obvious one. We'll stick these guys in here as well, which was keep reminder
Let's
text.
not tell. No, let's not say what his name is. I think it's unnecessary.
I'm fine with that if it's not necessary.
Who knows what? Yeah. Here's another recommendation. If something is like borderline, you don't know if you should use it when you're communicating with
Hmm.
AI, your bias should be to not include it if you're not sure if it's going to be helpful or not.
Okay, that makes sense. So, yeah, that's all fine. That's all fine. That's all fine. So keep reminder text as concise as possible. Aim for one sentence is brief. Focus on the essential action and awareness needed. Always ensure the reminder is contextually relevant, either nickel or da, 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 da. And this is where we will put in the custom Tana paste if we chose to add that in there later.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got reminder done. We've got thoughts that we can set up.
I wanted to point out real quick how this worked. And there was a little bit more discussion that we were having that I think most people would typically have with themselves if
Yeah.
they're filling out guidance. But the way that it worked was, yeah, we brought in D. We spoke to her in plain English, like this is what's happening. Just in a rambling way, this is what I want to accomplish, and you hit send, and D gave this really well formulated very agent consumable language. And then we took that and we edited it. We made some changes, but it was like 90% what you gave us.
Pretty much, yeah. So next thing we want to do is thoughts. So how do I set this one up?
This is one of those that I think is probably, really straightforward and we shouldn't need to put too much thought into it. There's a few ways yeah, you could just do that.
Let's just, yeah, I was
Another,
trying to do a simple one this time and see just what it came back with.
yeah,
Okay. Captures personal reflections, opinions, interpretations, analytical thinking. Yeah, I think that's fine. Oh, do the same thing every time. That command B. Okay, let's do everything now. When context is personal opinions, beliefs, and interpretation, blah, 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 blah. I think this. Okay.
yeah. And while you're doing that, uh, for things like thought or info or things that are going to be very common things that most people are typically going to be using in their systems, you can probably get away with doing exactly what we did, and it's going to be, oh, use decision instead.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Oh,
leave that.
hallucinations will happen, by the way, so you should read through things just in case. They don't happen often, but
That is correct because we're telling it not to use for those things, but I'm not going to redirect it to use something else because there isn't something else.
hmm.
So that's fine. For direct quotes, citations, or external sources, yep, this is fine. Procedural steps, simple as bit, yeah, okay, cool, all fine. Ensure the highlight captures complete reasoning and chain. Okay, cool. Look for language that believes signals. My take. Yep. Okay, cool. I'm relatively happy with all of that. Enough to give that like a first pass. Okay, so let's close those guys down. We've got thought all sorted. Last one, well, did I do risk and info?
Let's do info. Yeah, let's do info next
Yeah.
because I think this will be a great case for. So we did one where you kind of did like a paragraph explanation of what we want, and then we did thought, where it's just like, tell me what to put in there, D. This one, let's do like give me guidance to put in here, but make sure to distinguish from thought, something along those lines.
So give me some guidance to put in this space, but give me some distinction between info and thoughts. I'm liking this whisper
Uh,
thing.
yeah, if anyone's curious, it's called Whisper Flow.
Yeah.
WISPR flow.
So, okay.
Thanks, Rob, for pointing that out.
Oh, is that a Rob suggestion? I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah.
I like it. So, key distinction: info, factual content, data, objective, or information, thoughts or personal reflections. Okay, so it's got a nice distinction between the two of them.
Hmm.
Captures factual information or data points. This type preserves knowledge that exists independently of personal interpretation. Cool.
That's perfect.
Yep. When to use factual. Fine. I don't think we need to go too heavy into this one. It's basically taking the content out of a dictionary, as far as I can tell. Like, use thoughts instead of personal opinions. Yep, that's fine. Ensure highlight contains standard and factual content. Yeah, why not?
Want to point out, note where she said use thoughts instead on the under when not to use. And that's if you know that thought, is one of your highlights and you intend to keep using that, specificity can be very helpful. It's just like when you don't want specificity is if you think you don't know if it would be helpful or not, or if there's a conflict, like because thoughts no longer exist or something like that,
Mm.
then you want to be careful with that. But I think I don't see any reason why we wouldn't continue using thoughts. The basic definition and meanings of info and thoughts are going to be, the same throughout time. And so adding that little detail, that specificity is helpful for the AI. And there's very little danger of it like leading AI astray.
Mm. Now, I can go into risk very quickly, and I'm just going to gimme. Just because I don't want to like spend too long on this little bit. I think what we've got for risk will probably be fine. Risk highlight captures potential threats, vulnerabilities, negative scenarios. We can refine it as we go, I think is where I stand with this right now.
Risk is another one that's, pretty standard.
Okie dokie do. So we've got all that set for now, and the other one I want to do is Project Bucket because this is going to link directly to what we've got going on with Project right now, and this is what it's going to have here. Now, why are we not showing up? Why are
I
you
don't
not
know.
showing up? Because you technically should be a bucket, regular bucket. Relevant tag, relevant bucket tag.
Oh, relevant bucket tag. Oh, I should make sure.
I'm wondering if that's down to when we merged things. No, it shouldn't have done.
That may be a bug I need to squash.
But whilst you're squashing that, I'm going to call D, and we're going to. These are going to be projects which are specifically related to products that Nick and Simon will be producing. let's see what it comes back with. Great, gives me clear foundation for your pod, but I mean, we could have done better, but sure. I'm glad that you are very sufficient, be satisfied with our. This bucket contains highlights. Yeah, okay, why not? What to look for? Product development discussions, decisions, brainstorming sessions involving Nick, user think, payback, launch plans, marketing discussions. I think we should probably be quite good with all of that for the time being. Is there anything else it should be looking for? I think a lot of that's pretty good, to be honest. Like, I don't really think we need to go too heavy just
Yeah,
now. For where we're at, I think that's fine.
yeah. We don't even need that much specificity, but we'll see what happens. Now, the sensitivity, do we want to stay with moderate or
Right now, we haven't got that many projects. I think moderate's going to be perfectly
there's
fine.
just one? Yeah, so maybe we should actually make it high sensitivity because like what else is it going to link to
Even we
for
can
us?
direct perspective. Yeah, I mean, from for this instance, if we start finding that other things are going to go all over the place, then fine. But right now, we have one project.
Yeah.
Everything, yeah, you're right. We want it to be very specific and not make up stuff. So, not that it will actually. I've not actually found it making up anything
Well,
since.
that's the opposite actually.
Yeah.
High sensitivity is like anything that might
Ah,
possibly apply. Yeah, yeah,
okay, I'm
yeah.
with you. Because I haven't found doing. Not since your very first version that I merged multiple things and then I had a problem, but since then everything's been like linking up perfectly in this new system. And even since I combined the focus with it, it's had a much more. I had to reorder my system a little bit in the process of update of putting focus streams on there, which actually gave a more structured feed to your. Yeah, it was interesting. Like the day that I released this, I also then put it all up on my system like the day before. But the day I released this, I then incorporated GigaBrain into my personal system. And that's when I realized that the cleanup actually was giving me stronger results. So that was another little benefit of having them both together. Okay, we've got projects all set. We've got all these reminders all set. I'm not going to go through do hobby buckets and things like that just yet because I think we're not using those features just this moment. Maybe products we are, but this is working in a different format, maybe. It might pull out information here, but we don't have any products right now.
Yeah, we kind of collapsed product and project into the same thing,
However,
essentially.
technically speaking, GigaBrain and Focus Streams, they're both products. You've already got GigaBrain. We don't need GigaBrain twice. Oh no, I deleted the content, didn't I? Yeah, I deleted the content. Okay, so we've got GigaBrain and Focus Streams, two products. Question is, do we want to add Giga Streams as another product, or are we quite happy just having it as the project for now? I think project for now with the two
We
projects.
collapsed, yeah, since we collapsed
Yeah,
everything, it would be redundant in this tiny example workspace.
sure. Okay, so in this instance, we're going to, they're not linked to this specifically right now, so we'll send them off. We could link them to this, but we don't need to right this moment. So how would we link them to it? I know how we'd link them to it. Go back a moment. Okay, inside of product, I actually want to just remove the status. Company. So in this one, we're going to have strategic, and this one, we're going to have Simon Creates. We're going to send those two guys off, and we should. I was hoping I'd see them in there. Technically speaking, they should be showing up in there because one of them should be related to the company. Okay, we'll come back to that in just a moment. Okay, so we want to just go through and give this some guidance quickly, provide guidance for and what to look for. Book it contains highlights and decisions related to product development, experience features. It's actual products though, so it's not quite got it right there actually.
Really?
Well, we're not using it as a
I
project, we're using it as a product.
I think we think about them completely differently. So for oh,
Sorry.
uh, So for me, a product has feedback and pain points and usability observations. There's product decisions, and like all of these for me,
Yeah,
these are related to products typically. And you would leverage. So yeah, this is where like it depends on how you see things.
yeah,
If you think of a product as only something that you're building, and not a standalone thing, then all of those things, the metrics, the data, those would be associated with a project. But for me, these are all for a product that you would then use in projects. Does that make sense?
yeah, like it's a thing, not a project, but it's associated to a project. So in this instance,
So like the metrics, for instance, the those metrics for any product. Maybe let's say like you have metrics for like growth, user base, or churn, or whatever, and those numbers will exist for all of the months of the existence of that product.
yeah,
And for a particular project, you may only reference the growth metrics for Q3 of 2024 or something. But for the product, it exists for the entire lifespan of that product, if that makes sense.
yeah. So in this instance, what we're saying actually is that,
And by the way, so this is another use of D and the other agents is like it can instigate new thought patterns, new ways of considering how you structure things, how you even just do work.
yeah, so I'm actually thinking now that based on the conversation we're having right now, currently speaking, we have gather inside of records. I'm going to remove it from there and I'm actually going to add it inside focus, but inside pursuit. Okay. And the reason for that is because it's a different kind of, no, I'm not. I'm going to keep it inside of gather and we're going to keep it as a record because it's still a thing. Okay. And we're not treating it like an end date and we're not treating it like it's a project. It's not acting and behaving like a project. It's just acting as a reference point to something. So
Yeah.
where
It's not a container for work, it's a container for stuff.
so I'm actually going to put product inside of focus view. Okay. So now what I've done is if we go into Gigabrain, Gigabrain now has a focus view. It's not operating as a project, but I have a view because there's going to be actions, resources, and things like that associated to it. I think in this instance, I'm going to just stick it into a mini view. Why is that doing that? Let's have a quick look. Highlights at the top because that's on the bucket, is it? Where's this guy? Is that's on the bucket, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So it goes at the end. Perfect. Okay. So now I've got a mini focus that's got any actions associated to it, resources, completed items, and highlights. So this is something that is going to be linked to the product, but it's not operating as a project that you want to track. And it's not even operating as a per shoot. We can put it in there if we want to, but I feel like product is still a material, a thing.
Yeah, it's not a pursuit. It's something that is. It exists.
Yeah, but you still want to have certain things associated to it, but you don't want it to associate itself with projects, campaigns, or hobbies. It doesn't fit in the same space, which means when we,
Projects are to Yeah, the products are things that you're going to be working with
Mhm.
or for or to create products and these other things in projects. But like, yeah, projects are verbs and products are nouns. That's a kind of thing. That's one way I think in my mind to
And
distinguish
I
between these
think there's an
things.
argument to be said as well that this item here probably doesn't need actions and completed at certain points,
Yeah.
but we'll go through and adjust later. For now,
Although, well, yeah, it depends.
yeah,
So here's where the
we'll see where we
flexibility
go
can
with
be
it.
really amazing.
Yeah,
Maybe you want just a summary of all of the actions related to your project. That's not where the actions are taking place. That's not where you're doing any of the planning or any of that stuff. But maybe you want to have that window into actions that are related to that product,
yeah,
for instance.
yeah. And yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. I think
Real quick, I'm going to exercise my sales muscle again. Don't, no, don't go anywhere. To to now hawk your product, the Focus Streams Pro, because if you as a user want to have this really nice visibility of the SmartPad actions, resources, completed, highlights, if you want to have that high level view that it's immediately accessible for any work that you're doing of any kind of work, and you have that reliable vision across any project or product or whatever, and it's automatically hooked up and it's automatically bringing in all of those relevant pieces inside that focus space. Get Simon's product. Okay.
thank you, thank you. So I think this is actually a really good point to. Okay, I think this is a really good point. We've got this meeting that's been recording the entire time. We've now set up all of the items there. We've collapsed everything into a bit more, again, of a consolidated workspace. So we have a unified schema now. Okay. This is the focus Giga streams. Okay. This is your combined Giga Brain and focus streams scenario. So I'm going to hit stop. Oh, I'm going to make this big and we'll go into the actual origin and a new panel as well so we can see some magic happen and populate in here. So whilst this is doing this, because we've been recording for that for quite a while, that was faster than I expected it to be. Well done, Tana. Okay, so summary, I'm not going to go through it. That's what this guy's for. There's,
Yeah, now would be a good point to point out like there there's no one way that is like going to do everything perfectly and solves all of your problems. And there's like that summary, for instance, is generated by default in as part of Tana's one of Tana's commands that comes bundled with the meeting tag by default. Uh, that's one approach to getting information. You get this summary. Another approach is what happens when you click that generate highlights button is it just pulls out these chunks of information. It's the equivalent of atomic notes, except you don't have to make the notes. And it pulls out the notes automatically based on the guidance, which we just started. We just touch the surface of how to provide guidance and only for a few different highlights and stuff. We didn't fill out any of the about me. And like once you fill out all of those things, the system knows what you care about. As opposed to like objectively, like a generic AI would think this is interesting and you might be interested in this, but it doesn't know. When you have this guidance that the GigaBrain gives you, or that a GigaBrain allows you to fill out, and the AI, each and every action it takes, has all that guidance accessible, it knows what you would want whenever you click that button. Okay, so now that the highlights have been generated, we have some results.
So I'm going to point something out as well within the template that I've got at the moment. Because we have highlights plugged into resources, we're getting a double return here. And that's because we set in the previous version of this, we had added highlights as a tab menu item. So if you do have highlights as a tab menu item, you just go into the view very quickly. And what we're going to do is just disregard highlights from this search so that we only have them in one place. We're just going to go hashtag highlights. And there's two here, but we go with one with a plus. That will adjust if you do it on the view and not in here. Okay, so we've got all that set now. Oh, sorry, my bad, we closed down the wrong one. So now if we just clear that guy, we're not going to have the highlights in here, but we are going to have them in here. Okay, now what does this mean? We've got all this stuff in here. Command Shift closes the panel. Oh, that's my little good little note from before. We're going to give that a 5-star. Okay, so we can see it's gone
That
through.
one, yeah, like that one, I would just delete, for instance,
Yeah,
because yeah,
but this is down to, again, when you go through. I mean, we can talk about getting some extra little stuff to then manage it from inside this panel. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, from my designer brain, make risk red so I can see a clear difference. I'm going to make thought orange so I can see a clear difference. Info we've got, and that's all we've got for the time being. Okay, so it's pulled out all the highlights that we've been discussing for this entire thing. Great, no problem. We were going to get a lot more as time goes on. We also haven't given it specific instruction, as you said, about the about me, so there's certain things it's going to be missing. We could probably tweak it so it gives us more results as well a little bit later versus just this overall. We could probably get a bit more granular with it if we wanted to, maybe. Uh,
yeah, and this is one of the things where more than any other product out there, I think GigaBrain gets more exponentially more useful the more that you use it because when you have more than one project, and when you have different types of things that it connects to, on top of the guidance as well, like it has more options and it has more detail of like this applies over here and this applies over here instead of like trying to match everything to one thing. But yeah, by starting off, by default, you still have a decent experience.
yeah, and I mean, we could show a little bit more when I do a little bit of a demo of like personal system and how that's all working because it definitely grows with you over the time frame. So, okay, I think that's a good place to pause. We've set up everything. We've gone a little bit further in terms of combining the two systems together. We've set up more of the GigaBrain guidance systems and everything else. There's a little bit more to do, and we can definitely add more different types of like sentiment and decision and things like that as we go a bit further forward. And doing things like that, it might actually give us more highlights by giving it more options to choose from. That might be another factor as well. What else? I guess we'll just keep building it. Like, this is going to be an experiment, not just about how to work in a shared workspace, but also like how to really build out these projects in a way that I've been doing on my own personal approach in a way that makes sense to everybody. And we're going to use this combination as the whole thing. The intent. What do we want to share? What the goal is for this? The overall goal for this, or would you want to just keep people in suspense for a little bit longer until next time?
I think I prefer
I think
suspense.
I might be preferring suspense as well, but let's go from there and see what happens. Amazing.
Yeah. So, yeah, should we just say goodbye?